afternoon, everyone. So we are expecting a few more children to join. And once everyone is here, we will begin the class. Okay, so we'll just wait for a few more minutes so that people don't miss what we are going to do today. All right?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi. What is your name, ma'am?
So we'll start the class in a few more minutes.
No.
We're just waiting for some more children to join
What?
and then we'll begin. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am.
Yes.
What is, ma'am? What is your name, ma'am?
We'll tell you everything once everyone is here. Okay, so we just have to wait for a few more minutes. Okay,
Ma'am, what is your name?
Arnav, I will tell you in 2 minutes. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Sorry, good afternoon.
Afternoon. Yeah, it's afternoon. Okay, I think we are ready to begin.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good
Ma'am,
afternoon.
my body
Good
was
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we're ready to begin. Happy Children's Day to all of you.
Happy Children's Day, ma'am.
Happy Children's Day. Are you all happy today, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
I'm wearing this costume so hardly.
Yes, I can see you all are dressed up in
Ma'am,
like
I'm a pandit.
wonderful
I'm a
costumes.
pandit.
Don't tell me, it's a secret. So let's keep it a secret because you know what you have to do, right? How many of you know what you need to do today?
Ma'am, I know.
You know?
Ma'am,
Okay,
I
then.
know.
Okay, first things first. Okay, one thing that we need to do before we start the class today is go through some very important instructions. So I'm going to share my screen one more time and let's see if you understand what these symbols mean and what these pictures mean. Who can tell?
Okay. Ma'am, I can also.
Me, ma'am, I cannot. Ma'am, I can tell. Ma'am, I can
Okay.
tell. Tell you. Ma'am, I can tell you. Ma'am, I can tell. Ma'am, I can tell you. Ma'am, I can. Ma'am, can I tell you? Ma'am, I can tell you. Ma'am, I can tell you. Ma'am, I
How
can
will
tell
you
you.
tell me if you're not going to listen when I take your name? So first things first, if you see what's written over there, it says stay on mute and wait for your turn to speak, which means I will have to call out your name. And only when I call out your name can you unmute and then speak. Otherwise, we can't hear you. Right, children? And by now you should know because you've been doing online classes for such a long time, isn't it? And if you do want to speak, how do you tell someone that you want to speak? You have to do something without speaking. Yes, Suprabha is already doing it. What is that, Suprabha? Can you unmute and tell us?
Ma'am, it means that when you want to speak something, you have to you should raise your hand. Ma'am, and my name is not Suprabha. My name is
is
Abhyar.
it? Okay, so then let's do this. Before we move on, everyone, please rename your devices with your own name, followed by the character that you are playing today in the story. Okay? So if your name, for example, if my name is Priyanka, I will write Priyanka and a dash and then write the character that I'm going to play. That may be an old woman or Mr. Sher Khan or whatever the character that you have dressed up as. Okay? So I will give everyone a minute to do that. If you don't know how to change your name, you can tell me and I shall do it for you. Yes, Arnav, you want to say something?
Ma'am, so shall we also change our names to the character we are playing?
Yes. So if you are playing a character, you have to write the character name. Okay?
So my name, my name is Arnav already. I've changed my name to Arnav already, ma'am. So I should,
Yes. Are you going to play a character too, Arnav?
yes, ma'am. So should I put a dash and write the character that I'm playing?
Yes, after your name. So I'm doing it for Techno Spark 7. Okay, that's the name of the device, but I'm changing it to Shrestha because that's the child's name. And the character she's going to play today is Little Red Riding Hood. So you see, so if you see Shrestha's name in the list of participants, you can see that Shrestha is going to play Little Red Riding Hood. Okay, like Avnish has already named himself as the selfish giant. Tarini is dressed as the fox. Who else is here? So many participants are here. Mariam, you have to keep your camera on so we can see you. And Riyansh, have you thought of what character you're going to play? You can also rename yourself or tell me in the chat box and I'll do it for you. Okay.
Prepared.
What happened, Riyansh?
I haven't thought of what I have going to
Okay,
be
so
in
you
the
have
story.
time. You can think about it, okay? And meanwhile, we can begin with our little storytelling performances. But you must remember, when someone is telling a story, what should you be doing? When someone else is telling the story, what should you do?
Ma'am, we should mute ourselves and listen to the speaker.
Absolutely right. Okay, so you must stay on mute and pay attention to the other person as to what they are saying in the story. And when you are telling the story, what should you remember to do? Who knows?
We should act, ma'am.
You should act like what?
We should express like, once upon a time, great far away, there was a selfish giant, like that only, right?
So you basically don't have to bore the audience. You don't have to make them fall asleep. You don't have to be boring. And how you don't be boring is up to you to do. All right. So you are the boss. You're the storyteller. You just have to keep everyone entertained with your story and your performance. And hopefully everyone will enjoy it. And I'm sure they will, because they
Yeah,
are
ma'am.
also going
I'm
to
also
give
sure.
their effort. We must appreciate and encourage everyone by being good listeners. All right. So I am not going to decide who will go first. Okay. You are going to make that decision for yourselves. Now, you want to decide how do we choose the first performer. So we can have, if you want to be the first performer, you can raise your hand. And then we can have a little vote by the others if they would like you to go first. Okay. Arnab, is your hand up or is it up from the beginning and you forgot to put it down? Okay. So Shrestha wants to go first. And I think no one else has raised their hand. So if everyone is, oh, Avyakt has also raised his hand. Avyakt, you also want to go first?
Ma'am, no, I would like to hear some other stories. I would go at
Okay.
last. Okay.
Okay, so that's not a choice we can make. So since Shrestha has raised her hand and volunteers to be the first performer of this afternoon, if others in the audience are okay with that, give us a thumbs up so we can spotlight Shrestha and listen to her story. Are you all ready to listen to Shrestha's story? Okay, amazing. So Shrestha, you've got the audience vote and I'm going to spotlight you so that, yes.
Ma'am, can I tell you something?
What?
Yes, ma'am, that me and Avyak are real brothers.
Oh, really? And you're
Yeah,
in this,
we are just in different rooms.
how intelligent is that? Well done. So now we shall listen to our first performer for this afternoon, Shrestha, who is playing the character of the Little Red Riding Hood.
Hello, everyone. Today I am Little Red Riding Hood. Today I will tell you a nice story of Little Red Riding Hood, and my name is Shrestha Dev. Can I tell you a nice story of Little Red Riding Hood?
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you. Once upon a time, there was a little girl. She was living with her mother. One day, she took her mother's permission to go to the granny's house. Her mother told her that do not speak with unknown persons. So Little Red Riding Hood went to Granny's house, and then a wolf saw her, and wolf came and said, "Where are you going, little girl?" So Little Red Riding Hood forgot her mother's words, and she told the correct location, and then that wolf went to Granny's house and ate her, and then Peter Red Riding Hood reached there and said, Granny, why your eyes are very big? So that wolf said, first I will be able to see you, my little child. And Granny, why your ears are so big? So that I will be able to hear you properly, my child. And Granny, why your nose are so big? So that I will be able to take breathe properly. And Granny, why your teeth are very big so that I will be able to eat you? Ah! Nearby, a woodcutter heard that screaming sound, and then he come there and he hit that wolf on the head, and the wolf opened his mouth to shout, and then Granny jumped out from his stomach. They saved. Thank you.
Little Red Riding Hood. Everyone, please give Shrestha a big hand. Let's clap for her performance. Well done. Okay, so now
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, I want to say something.
yes,
Ma'am, there are 2 Little Red Riding Hood.
yes, we have a double Red Riding Hood performance this afternoon. And you know, even if the story is the same, the way a performer and a storyteller tells it is different. And that's what keeps it interesting for the audience. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
So who wants to go next? Who wants to be the next one? Okay, I see Arnav's hand is up. Anyone else? Okay, so I think Arnav is the only one who wants to go. So Arnav, your time starts now and you can begin your performance. Unmute and start.
Hi everyone. Today I am going to do Jumbo's adventure story. So this is Jumbo. Hi. So once upon a time there lived Jumbo. So he had no friends to play with. So one day a horse came along and told, Horse, will you be my friend today? No, I'm sorry, you're too big. So, and then the horse went away. Now Jumbo was very sad. He had no friends. Then he went ahead again. Then he met a sheep. Meh. You cannot be my friend. You have a ginormous trunk. Meh. The sheep went. Then the Jumbo was again sad. Then he walked again. His legs started to get very tired. Nearby there was a big pond. He got his trunk and started to drink the water. Now he was full and walked along. Then he met a cow. Moo. You cannot be my friend. You have two big hands, legs and ears. You are so small, he said. Then the cow did not want to be the friend and walked away. Almost everybody didn't want to be friends with Little Jumbo. So he was sad again and walked ahead. Then he met a donkey. Will you be my friend? No. You have too much of big feet. You have too much of a big trunk. I cannot be friends with a giant elephant. Sorry. And seeing that, every single animal didn't want to be friends with Jumbo. Then one day, Panther was chasing all the animals. Help me. The panther was chasing all the animals. So Jumbo saw it and he quickly ran and took some of the water and blasted it to the panther. Then the panther ran away. Then the animals were safe. Everyone started to cheer for him. So everyone became friends with little Jumbo. The end.
Wow, thank you, Arnav, for such an adorable story of little Jumbo's adventures. And I love the way you used your little props and your little animals to tell us the story. Well done, everyone. Let's give Arnav a big hand. Okay, so I can see Tarini's hand has already gone up. Thank you, Arnav, for that lovely story. And now it's turn for our next storyteller to come onto the screen. So Tarini, are you ready? Shall we get you on? Tarini, you have only 1 minute for the story. Okay, so you have to tell it as fast as you can, as beautifully as you can, and as confidently as you can. And you can begin right away.
I am Tarini, and the book I'm going to see is the Rhyming Rabbit.
Tarini, can you come a little closer to the camera so we can hear you well enough? Come ahead, come a little ahead so we can see you and hear you clearly. Okay, start.
So, today's story is The Rhyming Rabbit by Julia Donaldson, Lydia Monks.
Illustrated by Lydia Monks.
The Rhyming Rabbit.
You can see.
The Rhyming Rabbit was sitting with his family in a grassy field. All the other rabbits were eating the grass, but the Rhyming Rabbit was making up a poem about it.
The rabbit said, stop rhyming and start eating.
Stop. The other rabbit says, stop rhyming and start eating.
1 minute.
It was beginning to get dark. One of the rabbits pricked up his ears and stamped a foot. Fox, he shouted.
Fox.
Straight away, all the rabbits ran into their burrow. His eyes and made up a poem. about the fox. Don't rhyme, run, yelled the other rabbits.
They told him to stop rhyming and they told him to run.
The rhyming rabbit opened his eyes, saw the fox, and ran. He reached the burrow just in time. It was night time. The right rabbit lay down together in their burrow, all except for the rhyming rabbit, who sat apart from the others, singing a song to them. Stop. The rhyming rabbit felt sad and suddenly, and other rabbits were all snoring, but he couldn't get to sleep.
Look there. So he dug a tunnel and
So he dug a tunnel and he kept doing it. And round a corner where he met a worm, the running rabbit stopped in his tracks and made up a new home.
finally the rhyming rabbit
And
reached
finally, the rhyming rabbit met a mole. The mole's eyes were very small, but he didn't have ears. Maybe he would enjoy a spot of
poetry.
poetry. And the rhyming rabbit stood on his hind legs and began to recite.
The poem. Then the rabbit
The rhyming rabbit felt very lonely, but he carried on digging. He dug and he dug till he met a centipede. Straight away, thought up his best poem yet.
But even the centipede got bored.
But even the centipede got bored. Then the rhyming rabbit got hungry and sadder, lonelier than ever, and he felt hungry too. He dug his way up out of the earth and into the open air. He found himself on
A hill.
hill. The grass was covered in
Dew.
dew. It tasted
Yummy.
delicious.
Then he met a
Wolf, said a voice.
sheep.
He met a sheep, and the sheep said, "Wool," said a voice. The
And the
rhyming rabbit turned round and saw a woolly sheep standing beside him.
And they both became very friendly and they made a lot of poems together.
So the sheep, she smelled at the rabbit and
And they both became
friends.
and the rabbit said, "Now I have
And
to
the
go."
sun came up. It was a beautiful sunny day, And then he remembered the family and he said, I have to go
But I'll come back.
tomorrow.
That's the end of the.
That's the end of the storybook.
Well done, Tarini. That was a lot of work. And you read through the entire book. Well done with that costume. I'm sure it was hard for you, but you did a great job. Everyone, can we give a big hand to Tarini? Thank you, Tarini, for the lovely
Nice
story.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we want to see who is going to be the next storyteller.
Now
for
can
the
I have raised my 2 hands.
I can see Avyat hands is up. Audience, shall we go with Avyat? Give us a thumbs up if you're ready for Avyat's story. Yes, okay, audience is ready. Go for it, Avyat. Your time starts now.
Ma'am, 1 minute. Ma'am, my story is 1.5 minutes. But it's a very good story, I promise.
Okay, go for it.
It's a mythological story. The author of this story is my nanny.
Very good. Continue.
So once upon a time, there was a small boy. His papa and his wife were poor, but still they had money to eat. So a boy named Jimbo woke up early morning at 4 a.m. He went to his father's bedroom and said, "Mommy, I'm hungry." Then his father said, "It's 4 a.m. The Jimbo said, "It's my pre-breakfast snack." So they gave him food. Then he used to eat so much food. Poor mommy and daddy couldn't even eat one bite. They thought he was an eating vacuum. So one day his father said, "Why do you keep eating? Now we will eat." You fat boy. The Jimbo said, "It's not my fault that I am hungry." He said, "Oh yeah, you want to eat? Then go to the temple. They will give you free food if you pray to God. Go." And they kicked him out of the house. And finally, that Baba was eating that food. Finally, the Jimbo is gone. Meanwhile, the Jimbo was walking to the temple and then he saw, "So, I am Jimbo and I want to be a Pandit." "You, a Pandit? Hey! But you're funny. I will be a Pandit. I will show you. What do we have to do? You have to pray to God at night and morning and afternoon." Jimbo thought, this would be easy. Would I get food? Yes, after God, when God will eat. Really? So I have to wait? Yes, you have to wait. Wait for your chance. First God, then you. And Jimbo said, fine, whatever. So Jimbo said, I need 2 kilo rotis. 2 kilos. So 1 kilo. So at night he made three chapatis. He thought, so at night he requested God, please come, I will, or else I will die to death. Then God said, and he came by in Ram Avatar, Shri Ram Avatar. And then he said, thank you, God, for coming. Now let's eat. Then the God began. First, God took the thali and he took 2 rotis. The Jimbo thought that God would only eat 1 roti because the whole world is giving him free the food. So poor Jimbo had to eat only 1 roti. He used to eat 5 rotis, but he thought that I can eat 2 rotis, but he only ate 1. Poor Jimbo couldn't sleep that night. So next day, he said that I need 2 kilos of rotis. Okay, so 2 for me, 2 for God. But next night, Ram came back and he came and he had a visitor by who is Lakshman. Lakshman also came and Jimbo thought, and Jimbo said, you can eat, you can eat. Then Lakshman and Ram took 2 rotis. He was left with 1. Poor Jimbo. Next day, he ordered 3 kilos rotis. Again, Ram had 1 more new visitor, Sita. Then 4 kilos. Then Hanumanji. Then Jimbo said, "It will next day you four will only come na, not the whole Barsana and Vrindavan, right?" And then the Ayodhya, right? Then the fourth gods said, no, we 4 will only come. Then the next day, the Jimbo ordered 5 kilo rotis to eat. Then the another Pandit thought, why are you taking so much food? For gods. Gods? Yes, Ram, Lakshman, Sita, Hanuman. Yeah, right. So at night, that another Pandit spied on poor Pandit Jimbo. So he saw 4 thalis and he said, are you mad? Why are you giving 5 thalis in total? Then he said, for gods, I told you. Then he said, he is cuckoo bananas. What's wrong with you? Then Ram, Lakshman and Sita and Hanuman showed themselves. And the another Pandit went down to his knees and said, Prabhu. Then Ram explained, I came to this boy because he's just a kid and he wanted to eat food or else, he would die. So that's why I came. So at next day, that little boy, Pandit, was famous. He went all over the news. Every man said that he can see God, he can see God. Soon in that temple, there was a statue of him. And like this, in a yogasana. And like this, there was a samosa in his hand, in the statue. The people said, holy JJ Jimbo, JJ Jimbo. That is the story of Pandit Jimbo. His father also saw the story of the Pandit Jimbo. He saw the news and he said, why did I kick him out? Why did I kick him out? This is the end.
Thank you, Pandit Jimbo. Well done with the narration and the character voices. Very entertaining, and I'm sure the audience enjoyed the story of Pandit Jimbo. And now I feel like having samosas too. So well done, everyone. Let's give Avya a big hand. And I see that Mariam and Avnish both have raised their hands. Children, if you're done with your stories, you can put your hands down. And between Mariam and Avnish, we need to decide who should go first. So Mariam and Avnish, why don't you discuss with each other and we will wait for your decision for you to decide who
We
wants
can also do a vote.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
know. They decide themselves first. Okay. So Avnish and Mariam, you decide first. If you're not able to decide, then we will go for the audience. Because we get to listen to both the stories anyway. So Mariam and Avnish, you can unmute and discuss and tell us.
Let Abnish speak.
Okay, Mariam has allowed Avnish to go ahead. So Avnish, you must thank Mariam for that first.
Thanks.
And-
Thank you, Mariam.
Okay, let's go. Avnish, are you ready? Avnish, you have to do this in 1 minute. Okay. Are you ready?
Ma'am, it's like a Avyak's timing only.
It went for 4 minutes. He said 1.5 and it went on for 4.
No,
Okay,
ma'am, mine is on 1
Shorter than his?
minute.
Okay, chalo, let's see. And your time starts now.
Okay, ma'am. Once upon a time, Today I am gonna share Nick the Child Giant. Once upon a time, there was a giant named Nick. His family, he went for a vacation to Giant's Happy Land, where he stayed there for 2 days. But one day when he came, when there were some children playing cricket. And one was Fury, one was Pius, one was Nick, one was Kevin, one was Cobb, and one was Kebby. They were brothers and sisters. They all went to play. Nick said, "Let's play hide and seek." When Nick came back from the Happy Land, he saw 4 children playing in his backyard. One day, he said that he roared at them, and the children were frightened and went away. One day, after 1 week, Nick was watching TV. Nick laughed and said, "Look at this scene, it is so funny." But when he just saw, nobody was there. So he thought that he needs friends to entertain and be BFFs. So one day he left his backyard door open, and then the children thought that Nick is sleeping. So the children came and started playing football and hide and seek. One day, and Nick was only a child, he did not know anything. So one day, when Nick came out to his backyard, the children were frightened and were hiding in the backyard. So Nick thought that it was that they were playing hide and seek. Okay, Nick said that, "Okay, I will play hide and seek. I will find you." But after 1 hour, Nick said that it's for no use. They would not be BFFs with me. The children, first child said that he means that he wants best friends. But when he said, the other child said that let's be BFFs with it. But Kevin said that but what if he betrayed us and throw us away? Nick, but then Cobb said that but we are trustable people. He won't throw us away because he is just a child giant. So he went that Cobb and his friends said, and his brothers and sisters said that do you want best friends? Nick said yes. So Nick but promised that and the children said that promise that you won't throw us away and kick us out from your backyard. So the one year Nick promised, and they became friends and played with each other. The end.
Thank you so much, Avnish, for this wonderful story about friendship. And it keeps us inspired and keeps us trying to continue our friendships and stay close to each other. So thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, if you want to see costume of Nick the Giant, look, a red t-shirt and jeans.
Okay, that's quite a cute costume. Thank you for showing it. Okay, now it's Mariam's turn.
Just 1 minute. Ma'am, he didn't know what kind of costume do I wear. So I told him just be Nick the Cell Giant of another. And the giant just wears common clothes. Okay,
No, ma'am. He told me to say the story of the selfish giant. But I thought that it would be it would be a nice story if I tell of my own. So I made my
Right.
story.
Sure. That is very nice. Intelligent choice of costume.
Ma'am,
Now
how
it's
many?
Mariam's turn.
Ma'am, how much time I took?
I was not looking because I was so busy listening to your story. Now it's Mariam's turn. Okay. So let's watch and listen to Mariam's story.
The
Are
Peter
you ready,
Rabbit.
Mariam?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's begin.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Children's Day. I am Mariam Binti Shuja. I will play character of Peter Rabbit. Hello, I am Peter Rabbit. I am a bunny. I love to eat carrot.
Okay. I'm not sure if everyone is able to see Mariam. Are other children able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
You're able to see Mariam?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Live
There's
in
no
the
problem
woods with my mother and my sisters, Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail. And I love to going in Mr. McGregor's garden. But my mama always tells me to be away from his garden because Mr. McGregor is bad man.
And
But-
who is your best friend?
And my best friend is Benjamin Bunny.
What do you both like to do?
We both like to go into Mr. McGregor's garden.
And what do you
because-
do from there? What do you get from there?
Because he had a garden full of carrots.
Why are you eating so much carrots? Is there anything good for us in this carrot?
Carrot is good for our eyes.
Okay. So what do you want to suggest your friends? What should they do? They too should?
always eat.
They too
they-
should?
They too should eat carrot.
Okay. Anything else you want to say?
Happy Children's Day.
Okay. Say thank you.
Thank you. Well
Thank
done. Well done, Mariam. You know, the story of Peter Rabbit is one of my favorites too. So thank you for reminding me of my favorite story.
Ma'am, I've seen Peter Rabbit 2 movies.
Wow.
Peter Rabbit
So
1
maybe
and Peter
tonight-
Rabbit 2, The Runaway.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Well done, Mariam. And I loved how you brought out the carrots to show them to us and telling us how to eat healthy food too. So now it's time for our next
Okay, ma'am.
storyteller.
Ma'am, I think I would like to hear the story of Horrid Henry.
Yeah,
Let's
ma'am.
see. But Horrid Henry has to raise his hand. And it's our choice, their choice. Okay, Avyar. So you can stay on mute as promised at the beginning of the class and wait for people to raise their hands. So whoever has not performed yet, this is your chance, because if you don't go for it now, we might just have to move on to the next exercise of the day. So whoever is ready, come on. Yes, okay. Huda is ready as Horrid Henry. Let's begin, Huda. Your turn now.
Henry was a horrid boy. He screamed in the morning, he screamed in the evening, at night he never slept. He put breakfast on his head, lunch on the floor, dinner on the wall. And his nappies, what a stink. But then Peter was born. Peter was a perfect baby.
He smiled all day and slept all night. His nappies were never dirty. Well, almost never. Henry was not very happy when Peter arrived. In fact, he was furious. I've had just about enough of this baby, he said to Mom. Goochie, goochie, goo, said Mom. Time to take this baby back to the hospital, he said to Dad. Who's my little pumpkin? Henry glared at Peter. This house isn't big enough for both of us, he thought. Horrid Henry tried posting Peter. He tried dumping Peter. He tried letting the wind blow him away. Perhaps he'll leave, thought horrid Henry hopefully. Unfortunately, Peter didn't. He just grew bigger and bigger sitting in Henry's chair, playing with Henry's toys, swinging on Henry's swing, and being a total nuisance. Mom, Peter's kicking me, screamed Henry. Don't be such a telltale, Henry. Dad, Peter's bashing my teddy. He's only little Henry. Mom, Henry's hitting me, said Peter. Don't be horrid, Henry. Dad, Henry's knocking down my Lego. Don't be horrid, Henry. Why doesn't Peter ever get into trouble, muttered Henry. Then horrid Henry had a wonderful wicked idea. Peter, said Henry sweetly. Would you like to dig a hole to China? Oh, yes, said Peter. Henry pointed to Mum's newly dug flower bed. Dig here, he said. It's easier. Peter started digging soon. Soon there was a lovely big hole. That's great work, Peter, said Henry. Why not show Mum? Peter toddled off. Tee-hee, thought Henry. Mum came outside. She screamed. Henry, how dare you dig up my flower bed? I didn't do it, said Henry. Peter did. Don't be horrid, Henry, shouted Mum. Go to your room. It's not fair, wailed Henry. Next day he tried again. Let's surprise Mum and draw her a picture, said Henry. How about a Viking ship? Yeah, said Peter. We need a huge space, said Henry. I know. Let's draw on the wall. On the wall? Said Peter. We couldn't fit a whole Viking ship on a tiny piece of paper, said Henry. And just think how pleased Mum will be when she sees it. Okay, said Peter. Henry giggled and sneaked off. The time he'd get Mum himself. Mum, Peter's doing something terrible, said horrid Henry. He's drawing on the wall. Mum ran upstairs. I didn't do it, my hand did, said Peter. It was Henry's idea. No, it wasn't. Don't be horrid, Henry, shouted Mum. But I didn't do anything, said Henry. You're the eldest. You should have stopped him, said Mum. Go to your room. The next day, Mum took Henry and Peter to the park. Henry felt very sad. He couldn't get rid of Peter, and he couldn't get Peter
into trouble. Maybe he could push Peter into a puddle when Mum wasn't looking. Suddenly, a huge dog ran up to Peter. Snarled the dog. Help! Squeaked Peter. Henry didn't stop to think. Go away, dog! He howled in his most horrid voice. Peter started screaming. Mum ran up. Don't be horrid, Henry, she shouted. Henry's not horrid, said Peter. He saved me. My hero, said Mum. Henry allowed his mother to hug and kiss him. He supposed he was happy to be a hero for one day. But tomorrow, watch out. Thank you.
How exciting! And I want to know what else Horrid Henry did later. So let's give Huda a big hand for this wonderful story.
Ma'am,
And
it
now-
was very good.
Yes, let's see who wants to go next. Okay, we have
Mhm.
some people who are still left. Of course, no one is following the 1 minute rule. And because the stories are so wonderful, I do not want to stop anyone in between. Okay, does Divija want to go next, or
And there are
um,
only 2 people. Ma'am, there are only 3 people left.
yes, but they have to raise their hand. How will I know who wants to go next? Lyra, would you like to go next?
Ma'am, I would like to go next, ma'am. Divija.
Okay, Lyra, I'm spotlighting you. Come on, your turn.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived with her mother in a pretty cottage at the end of the village. At the further end was another pretty cottage, and in it lived her grandmother. Everybody loved this little girl. Her grandmother perhaps loved her most of all and gave her a great many pretty things. Once she gave her a red cloak with a hood she always wore, so people called her Little Red Riding Hood. One morning,
Lyra, you've gone on mute actually.
where did I
Yeah.
stop?
A little 2 sentence before this.
At
One morning. Yeah.
Okay. One morning, Little Red Riding Hood's mother said, "Put on your things and go to see your grandmother. She has been ill. Take this basket along for her. I have put eggs in it, butter, cake, and some fruit." It was a bright and sunny morning. Red Riding Hood was so happy that at first she wanted to dance through the wood. All around her grew pretty wildflowers, which she loved so well, and she stopped to pick a bunch for her grandmother. Little Red Riding Hood wandered from her path and was stopping to pick up a flower.
You went on mute again, Lyra. Who is touching your mute button? Ah, okay, continue. Yes. Before you picked up the next thing that you were going to show us.
Okay. Little Red Little Red Riding Hood wandered from her path and was stopping to pick up a flower when from behind her a gruff voice said, "Good morning, Little Red Riding Hood." Little Red Riding Hood turned around and saw a great big wolf. Little Red Riding Hood did not know what a wicked beast the wolf was, so she was not afraid. "What have you in that basket, Little Red Riding Hood?" "Eggs and butter and cake, Mr. Wolf." "Where are you going with them, Little Red Riding Hood?" "I am going to my grandmother who is ill, Mr. Wolf." "Where does your grandmother live, Red Riding Hood?" "Along that path, past the wild bushes, then through the gate of the end of the wood, Mr. Wolf." Then Mr. Wolf said again, "Good morning," and he set off, and Little Red Riding Hood went again in search of the wild flowers. At last he reached the porch covered in flowers, and knocked at the door of the cottage. Then Mr. Wolf said, "Good morning." At last he reached the porch covered with flowers and knocked at the door of the cottage. "Who is there?" called the grandmother. "Little Red Riding Hood," said the wicked wolf. "Press the latch, open the door, and walk in," said grandmother. The wolf pressed the latch and walked in to where grandmother lay in bed. He made one jump at her, but she jumped out of bed and crept into a closet. Then the wolf put on the cap which she had dropped and crept under the bedclothes. In a short while, Little Red Riding Hood knocked at the door and walked in, saying, "Good morning, grandmother. I bought you some eggs, button, and cake, and here's a bunch of flowers I gathered in the wood." As she came near the bed, she said, "What big ears you have, grandmother." "All the better to hear you with, my dear." "What big eyes you have, grandmother." "All the better to see you with, my dear." "But, grandmother, what a big nose you have." "All the better to smell you with, my dear." "But, grandmother, what a big mouth you have." "All the better to eat you up, my dear," she said, as he sprang out at the Little Red Riding Hood. Just at that moment, Little Red Riding Hood's father was passing the cottage and heard her scream. He rushed in and, with his axe, chopped off Mr. Wolf's head. Everybody was happy that Little Red Riding Hood had escaped the wolf. Then Little Red Riding Hood's father carried her home, and they lived happily ever after. The end.
Well done, Laida. That was a lot of reading for you, but you did well. And is the costume uncomfortable?
Yes.
Or were you fine? Yeah. Now you can take it
Yes,
off.
I
and
was
enjoy.
waiting for my turn so I can take it off.
Well done. See, being a storyteller is not such an easy job, but you all are all doing very well this afternoon. I can see that Divija is already standing ready to begin. So, Riyansh, can I request you to let Divija go first before you?
Okay.
Okay. Riyansh is the kindest student I have. So, I'm going to take his permission and spotlight Divija for all of us. Come on, Divija, you can begin.
Today I am going to tell the story of Esther, the courageous queen of Persia. Long ago, there was a king named Xerxes, who made war with a country named Israel. Then he took few of the Jews and Israelites to Persia as captives and slaves for work. And then he held a feast, and all the captains and all the leaders in his country asked to bring his queen to see her. Then the king said to call her. Then she refused to come. So the king said, "I don't want a queen who refuses when I call her." And she was no longer the queen. Then Then the king said, I will prepare one celebration feast that all the young maidens and young girls should come from the kingdom to be chosen as a queen. Then there was a Jew named Mordecai. He was also brought as a captive, and he was a gatekeeper. He brought up Esther, the also who also was a Jew. Then when Mordecai heard the news, and Mordecai heard the announcement that he was that the king is choosing a new queen, he took Esther to the area, and so many women came. When so many women came, the king was saying no and no. One day it was finally Esther's turn, and then and then she and then then the king chose her to be the queen of Israel, queen of Israel, queen of Persia, an empire which ruled 128 countries. Then 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 one day there was a second minister, which was the second greatest in Persia. He was wicked, and he wanted to become king without the king knowing. And then one day he hated Mordecai because Mordecai never bowed to him. And then he thought that I have to kill all the Jews. Then one day he asked the king, I know these few people named Jews. They always don't like to honor the king. They don't want to honor the king, so that is treason, so you should kill them. And one day they might even take over Persia and become king without you. Then then that king thought, really, and then he gave Haman his seal and told to make a note that all should be killed. Then Haman made that seal, and he made a letter to all the 128 countries in all their languages. He made a letter and sent to all that the Jews has to be killed. But Esther also was a Jew. So then Mordecai, knowing this announcement, he he went and he told Esther from a through a servant, saying, you have to go and tell the queen. Then Esther said, king. Then the Esther said, all of you fast for me. In the whole country, all the 128 countries which Persia ruled, all the Jews did not eat or drink water for 3 days. Even Esther. Then Esther, one day, she also used to pray and fast. So then one day Esther went to the king boldly, and she thought that if I perish, I perish. And she went in, and the king laid down his golden scepter. Then Esther told, I would like Haman and you to come for a banquet I will prepare. Then I will tell you what I want. Then the king says, what you want, I will tell you I will give you all to half of the kingdom. Then she says, the reason I called you for the banquet today is to call you and your favorite minister tomorrow also. Then the next day, she prepares a banquet again, and the king asks, what you want, I will give you up till half of the kingdom. Then Esther said, I just want my life. I just want my life. Then the king says, why do you fear for your life? Then she said, my people and I are plotted to be killed and to be banished from here. She says. Then she said, who is that man? The king said, who is that man? I will cut him into pieces. Then Esther says, that is Haman only, your majesty. Then the king says, why? Then she says, I am a Jew. Then one of the king's servants comes and tells that Haman built a gallows 50 cubits high for Mordecai. 50 cubits high for Mordecai. Then the king says, hang him on it. Hang him on it. And hang him on it. Then Haman dies. Then the king gave Haman's position to Mordecai, and Mordecai became second position in the kingdom. And the king gave his signature ring and said, stamp a seal that all the Jews in the country are safe and that they don't need to worry for their lives. Then they passed a rule that all the Jews in the 128 countries are safe, and then there was victory for the Jews. So if we face struggles, we have to depend on God. So then God will free us from anything. He will save us from everything. The moral of the story is good always wins over evil. Thank you.
Thank you, Divija. That was a wonderful story, and I love the special effects, the magical costume change that took place. So, a big hand to your helpers around you, because without their help, these magical things don't happen. So, well done, everyone in Divija's house. Okay, now it's time for our next storyteller, Rianch. And Rianch is going to tell the story of Room on what?
Room on the broom.
Room on the broom. Ready, Rianch?
Hello,
Okay,
friends.
Rianch, you have to go a little behind so we can see your face. Otherwise, we just look at your hair. Is your hair performing for us? No, go a little behind, away from the screen. Sit back. Go more behind. Don't touch the table. Go more behind so we can see you clearly. Yes. Okay. And you can begin now.
Hello, friends. Today I am going to tell the story of Room on the Broom. The witch had a cat and a very tall hat, the long ginger hair which she wore in a plait. How the cat purred and how the witch grinned. They sat on their broomstick and flew through the wind. But how
Okay,
the witch
Rianch, just 1 minute. Rianch, I want you to push your chair right at the back, and you can keep the book in front of you. Hold it in your hand. You don't have to keep it on the table. Go more behind so we can see you clearly. Yes. And hold the book up so we can see your face and you're not looking down. Okay? Yeah, much better.
But how the witch wailed and how the cat spat. When the wind blew so wildly, it blew off the hat. Down! Cried the witch. They flew through the ground. They searched for the hat, but no hat could be found. Then out of the bushes on thundering paws, there bounded the dog with the hat in his jaws. He dropped it politely, then eagerly said, as the witch pulled on the hat firmly down on it, I am a dog, as keen as can be. Is there room on the broom for a dog like me? Yes, cried the witch, and the dog clambered on. The witch tapped the broomstick, and whoosh, they were gone. Over the fields and the forest they flew. The dog wagged his tail, and the stormy wind blew. The witch laughed aloud and held into her hand, but away blew the bow from her long ginger plait. Down! Cried the witch, and they flew to the ground. They searched for the bow, but no bow could be found. Then out of a tree, with an ear-splitting shriek, there flapped a green bird with a bow in her beak. She dropped it politely and bent her head low. Then as the witch tied her plait in the bow, I am a bird, as green as can be. Is there a room on the broom for a bird like me? Yes, cried the witch. So the bird fluttered on, the witch tapped the broomstick, and whoosh, they were gone. Over the reeds and the rivers they flew. The birds streaked with leaves, and the stormy wind blew. He shot through the sky to the back of the earth. The witch clutched her bow, but let go of her wand. Down! Cried the witch. They flew to the ground. They searched for the wand, but no wand could be found. Then all of a sudden, from out of a pond, leapt a dripping wet frog with a dripping wet wand. He dropped it politely, then said with a croak, as the witch spread the wand on a fold of her cloak, "I am a frog, as clean as can be. Is there a room on the broom for a frog like me?" "Yes," said the witch. The frog bounded on. The witch tapped the broomstick and whooshed the frog over the mountains, over the moors and mountains. The frog jumped on top, and the broom snapped in two. Down fell the cat and the dog and the frog. Down they went tumbling into a bog. The witch house's broomstick flew into a cloud. The witch heard a roar that was scary and loud. "I am a dragon, as mean as can be, and I am planning to have witch and chips for my tea." "No," cried the witch, flying higher and higher. The dragon flew after her, breathing out fire. "Help!" cried the witch, flying down to the ground. She looked all around, but no help could be found. The dragon drew nearer and, licking his lips, said, "Maybe this once I'll have witch without chips." But just as he planned to begin out his feast, from out of a ditch rose a horrible beast. It was tall, dark, and sticky, feathered and furred, 4 frightful heads, had wings like a bird, and it started to yowl and a croak and a shriek, and said to the dragon, "Buzz off! That's my witch." The dragon drew back and started to shoot. "I'm sorry," he stuttered. "I made a mistake. It's nice to have met you, but now I must fly." He spread out his wings and he was through the sky. Then down flew the bird and down jumped the frog. Down climbed the cat and froze. "Thank you, oh thank you," the crystal witch. "Without you, I'd be in the dragon den." Then she filled up her cauldron and said with a "Find something, everyone, throw something in." So the frog found a lily, the cat found a coin, the bird found a twig, and the dog found a bone. They threw them all in, and the witch stood, while she muttered, "Liggity, ziggity, zaggity, zoom." Then out rose a truly magnificent broom, with seats for the witch and the cat, a dog, a nest for the bird, and a shower for the frog. "Yes," cried the witch. They all clambered on. The witch tapped the broomstick and whooshed they were gone. The end.
Wow, that was long, huh, Riyansh? Well done. You read through the whole thing at super fast speed. So here's a big hand for Riyansh. And we have one last performer for
Thank
this
you.
afternoon. Our audience has been absolutely wonderful, listening patiently to everyone's stories. And we have Manan, who's left to perform his story. So Manan, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Okay. So I'm going to spotlight you so that you can tell us your story for the afternoon.
So good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, everyone. My
Manan,
name
your
is
camera
Manan
is
Naik.
not on. We can't see you.
Yeah, ma'am.
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Okay.
Ah, there you are. Yes. You can begin, Manan.
So I am going to tell how rice came into existence. Do you know that many years ago, people could go to heaven, or they could walk on clouds? Yeah. So one man named Ravi was very poor. He daily begged people. He was a daily beggar. So one day he thought of visiting Devi Annapurna. So he went to her house and knocked the door. She said, "Welcome, Ravi." He said, "Devi Annapurna,
I ask you nothing but food. Why don't you listen to my prayers? She invited him to her house and allowed him to sit. She gave him a meal, a very good and tasty meal. He was very happy and ate to his fill. Then he said to Devi Annapurna that, Ma, can I live here until I am fully satisfied? She obviously permitted. So one day he asked that, what is this white thing? Now to his answer, Devi Annapurna said, this is called rice. We eat this to get energy. This is eaten by all the gods in the heaven. She said that it gives us energy, also a lot of confidence. So he asked to taste for it. She gave him a bowl of rice and he ate one bite. After that, he felt he should give this to his family. So the next day, he said that, I am leaving Devi Annapurna and I am satisfied with your helpness. She obviously welcomed this thing and allowed him to go. So before leaving in his turban, he had kept few rice grains in his head. So the moment he returned to the earth, he cooked the rice and he gave it to his fellow friends and his family. Also, he planted the rice in the field. So the moment he just took one bowl of rice, Devi Annapurna caught the sight and went there. She said that, Ravi, you have disobeyed me and have made me furious. I'm not happy with your work. He begged for her mercy and said that, Annapurna, I'll agree with you, whatever you are saying. But isn't it also right that I should share my friends whatever I have tasted? See, my friends are also poor and I wanted them to try this. So she allowed this. And she told that, yeah, I can't get angry for this, but from now on, I put a stop on humans to enter the heaven. They could only come to the heaven after disposing their body. After this, the rise started and man could not go to the heaven. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Manan, for such a unique story. I didn't know about this. But is it a folk tale? Can you tell us where it's from?
I had read this story in Sudha Muti's folk tale.
Very special. Well done. Good choice of story, Manan.
Thank you.
I think that brings us to the end of this storytelling afternoon with all you wonderful children celebrating Children's Day with us. And before we finish for the day, I want to thank everyone who's come to be a part of our celebration at Spark Studio. Each of you are very unique storytellers. And I don't know if some of you know that already, but you can tell your parents about it. At Spark Studio, we have lots of courses, exciting workshops for children to learn storytelling, music, art, singing. So you can ask your mom and dad.
Spark Studio was only a website to only sing.
No, we have a lot of workshops. In fact, some of you present here are already doing the courses. And one of you is my student too. So you can join and see how those classes are conducted. We have a free trial where you can come and attend the class and see how the teacher is and how you like the course, and then join it if you do. Okay, so you can ask your mom and dad the details about all the courses. So you just need to click and book yourself a trial class with our teacher.
Class, by the way.
Thank you, Avyak, and thank you all of you for taking part and
Go
taking
for a
the
class.
effort and working so hard to perform your stories with your costumes and your acting and your special effects and your props. Well, very well done. Okay. And I hope to see many of you in my class too, because I'm also one of the teachers at Spark Studio, and we have
What do you
other
teach?
amazing teachers. I teach storytelling.
Oh,
So Riyansh is my student.
that's why
Riyansh
you
is
are
also
this. That's why you are right now in the story.
exactly. Yeah. So I hope to see many of you in my class, and if not mine, in one of the other classes at Spark Studio, and have
I
a
go for the
lovely.
singing class.
Yeah, you're already doing the singing class. Well done, Lyra. And I'm gonna see you all again very soon. Have a wonderful,
public speaking class.
yeah, lovely,
The teacher
and have a
said
lovely
ma'am. The
time.
teacher was Kirti
the
ma'am.
teacher is
Okay. Happy Children's Day, children,
Happy Children's Day, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
enjoy yourselves. Bye, everyone.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye bye, ma'am. Have a nice day. Take care
Have a
of
nice
yourself.
Bye,
evening.
ma'am. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Once again, Maria, bye, ma'am. यहाँ से बोलो bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
ma'am.
Bye, Divija. Bye, Lyra. Bye, Mariam. Bye, Mariam's baby brother.
She's baby sister, Minha.
Baby sister. Okay. Hi and bye. Have a lovely
And she's
day.
other sister, Maria.
Oh, wow. Hi, Maria.
Thank you,
We
ma'am.
really enjoyed the
Thank you,
story.
ma'am.
Thank you for coming. Bye. Bye, Queen Esther. See you again very soon
Sure,
with your
ma'am.
special magic effect. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.